Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. Nashville Soccer Club has its new head coach. The club announced this morning that U.S. men's national team assistant B.J. Callahan will replace manager Gary Smith, who was let go in May. Callahan led the U.S. to a Nations League title as the interim coach last summer before Greg Berhalter was rehired. Prior to his time with the national team, he served as an assistant with the Philadelphia Union. Callahan will be officially introduced later in July. He will officially join the club at the start of Leagues Cup, July 22nd. Nashville Soccer Club is on the road tonight with interim manager Rumba Muntali taking on defending champions Columbus Crew. Coverage begins tonight at 5:30 right here on The Zone. In NBA news, LeBron James has agreed to return to the LA Lakers on a 2-year, $104 million contract that includes a player option for 2025 and 2026 and a no-trade clause. Also, Belmont basketball legend Grayson Murphy was named to the Lakers' Summer League roster. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Here we go on this Wednesday that feels like a Friday.
Bang! Friday, it is.
It is Friday.
Oh, man. No wonder. Wait, hold on. Take off the talk of the town talk. I know Reed's doing a lot of stuff back there, but when you get a chance, man, you know.
So during the transition.
This, Sophie, fluffy stuff here on it. It gets me. I want to go sleep, take a nap. Oh, that's good topics. Oh, he has a nice Rolex. Bro, pretty cool. So what is that? Do you watch that show?
I've never.
Talk.
No,
today's Earth Day. Then
today's Earth Day.
Oh my! And then she gets up and dances. Oh my!
Okay, please can you change this? He's going to continue to do play-by-play.
He does Price is Right, and then he does. I forget that he does some soap opera.
Yeah, so in between so what happens is when everybody from Buck and Lucas and Jackson, when they leave and we're walking in, there's this transition period. The thing is that Buck during the show doesn't have sports on the television.
He watches soap opera.
He's got soap operas. They have Prices Right. Like all of this stuff that is just the strangest off the wall stuff is what's happening. So at 1:00, when we come in, the shows that they were watching go off and we get the talk or we get whatever other soap operas coming on.
And then I go over there and hit the wrong button. Then we don't even have TV and reception at all because I don't know what I'm doing over there.
No, that's the reason why it's happening is because they haven't watched soap operas. Oh. They've got to watch their soaps.
Yeah, well, I know they have to watch their soap, but it is a soap opera that's going on in the NBA.
It is.
That is Bronny James and LeBron James. Man.
Look,
give us the 411 on what's going on now.
So first off, all 4 seasons garage doors. He's Blaine Bishop. I'm Joe Hunk. Phone lines are open to you at 615-737-1045. Blaine and I are sitting in the prod room. We're finalizing what we were going to talk about today, who's coming on the show, what we want to do.
Well, you're our coordinator.
And so we're just finalizing the plan before we get into the game. And then Blaine goes, so what are we going to lead off with? And I said, I don't know. Let me just look up something real fast. And I go to ESPN, and the very first thing that is on ESPN is Bronny James signs 4-year deal.
And I go, what? Is that customary for a second-round pick at 55?
Well,
and 4-year deal, none of them are guaranteed. So this is guaranteed too, right?
This is a guaranteed deal. So I'm thinking to myself, every single day, I want this Bronny James story to die. Like, I just want it to die.
This has to be the last thing, right?
Like exactly. We thought yesterday was the last thing.
Well, no, this is not the last because then it's about him playing, then him and his dad on the court at the same time. So it's not going to happen.
Well, and the local tie to this, obviously, is Dalton Connect because the Lakers had their introductory press conference for their draft picks, which was Dalton Connect and Bronny James. And all it said on the scroll down at the bottom was Bronny James press conference. Like Dalton Connect, it didn't act like he was even there.
Yeah, the camera went right by him to Bronny.
Yeah, it was
like, Bronny went first. No, he didn't.
No. The guy that was drafted number 17 overall and the guy that the Lakers just signed to almost a $20 million 4-year contract, we're just going to slide past him and go directly to Bronny James. Like Dalton Connect could have got up and left and nobody would have known. at all. So that's why we keep paying attention to what's happening in LA. And then we get this notification of a 4-year deal. And so the first thing I do is I look at Blaine. I said, so Blaine, you want to guess at how much this contract is worth?
And then I said, $1 million per year. That's customary. Like, I don't even think it's that for a second-round pick.
It's a 4-year deal worth $7.9 million.
Which now you then tell me when you went to go look up. I said, what? I said, what is customary for a second-round pick on pay per year?
Okay, so last year's 55th, I went specifically. I didn't even look at just going to the second round. I went specifically to the number 55 overall pick last year, which was Isaiah Wong from the Indiana Pacers.
Oh, yeah, Wong.
Yeah, Isaiah Wong out of Miami. He signed a 2-way contract. So remember, that's what people thought with Bronny is, okay, well, this will be a 2-way deal, and it's not. It's guaranteed money, and it's $7.9 million. Last year, Isaiah Wong signed a 2-way contract. And under
55.
Under the CBA agreement, it is a total of $559,000 for each player that is signing a 2-way contract at the rookie minimum.
And that's not guaranteed, is it?
The only part that is guaranteed is $75,000 of that. It can go up to $75,000. That is what the number 55 overall pick last year made.
Well, does this help the cap or anything? Like, or is there something we're missing? Like, I mean, man, this is unprecedented, really. And then LeBron signs a huge. He didn't take a pay cut at all. He turned this.
100 plus mil.
Yeah, for two years. 50 million a year.
Yeah,
I mean, good man.
And it's so. Wow. When you see all these stats, you're going, okay, come on. This has to be like, you've got to be joking with this. Now, I'm trying to see how many points did Isaiah Wong score in 2020? Like, I want to see that because LeBron's son scored almost 5 points a game in his season there. But what about Isaiah Wong? Like, that's where I'm searching this part now because I want to know how many points a game.
I remember him.
Do you know how many points a game Isaiah Wong's averaged at Miami?
Oh, I have no idea, but I know he's a skilled finesse player. I have no idea how. I think he's like 6'8" or something.
So Isaiah Wong is.
I remember correctly. I remember his highlights last year. At the
he was 6'3", 180 pounds.
So no,
close.
he's a 2.
It's close.
6'3", 6'8". No,
his kicks. He's
no,
6'8".
this is not the guy.
In 2023 or the 2022-2023 season,
2 points.
He averaged 16 points a game.
And where?
At Miami.
No.
He had over 4 rebounds a game and 2 assists a game.
He averaged 16 points?
16 points a game.
And I've never seen him play not one game.
16 points a game for Miami.
That's what they're thinking is going to happen to Bron.
And so, again, Bronny can still go to the G League, but his seat's going to stay warm in L.A. By the way, their G League team shares the practice facility with the Lakers. The Lakers G League team and the Lakers shared the facilities.
Well, of course.
So it's not like Bronny's even having to go anywhere. But $7.9 million contract over 4 years.
Dang, man.
The first year, it's only going to be about $1 million, $1.1 million. Then it escalates from there, where his second season, he's going to be making $1.9 million. The third season, he's going to make $2.29 million. And then the final season is $2.5 million.
Yeah, we got to have somebody tell us that this is, helping them with the cap or something. Right. Is this unprecedented? Like,
no, it is 1,000% unprecedented.
Oh man,
1,000% unprecedented. You know why? Because look at what we just talked about. What we talked about all offseason. Well, we would love to have this player, and he's probably worth more. But you know what? We've got something called a cap space, and we're not going to pay you more than what you should be paid because we're trying to save money and fill an entire team. That's why it's unprecedented. Like the Lakers are just wanting to randomly throw out $7.9 million over the course of the next 4 years to then.
Yeah, man. Do you think LeBron will be still playing?
In 4 seasons?
Yeah.
No.
That'd be 2028?
No. Yeah, I don't think he'll be playing in 4 seasons.
Man.
I think he'll be playing in 2. I don't think he will be in 4. Because I think at some point in time, he's just going to say peace out.
We just need to throw in a white towel or yellow flag that they're just going to make this happen regardless if he earns it or not. And that's the part that, I think they should let him earn it. I mean, come on, man.
I think that's the biggest part for me.
Yeah, because
It doesn't feel earned. Like, you know, like
and I know that's how it works, but I'm talking about now. We're talking about on court. Everything is already laid out here. He's got a guaranteed contract. He's already on the roster. They're going to make this happen on opening day.
Yeah,
it's going to happen because they can't wait till the end because then they're going to be going on a playoff run and all of that. So they're going to make sure this happens sooner than later.
All right, let's go to the phone line, 615-737-1045. Stay here in Nashville. Kevin, welcome in. How's it going?
Hi, guys. Is a logical explanation about Bronny's contract that
educate us.
LeBron sat down with the guys in control and said, I want him to get a guaranteed contract for, do this. Otherwise, you're going to have a problem with LeBron James.
Look, I need you. Yeah, no, thanks for that, Kevin. Did he say, I need you to give him this amount of money so I can get him out of my house? Like, is that the reason why he made this guaranteed deal? Like, that's where I'm going because it's very unusual that LeBron signs his deal today. Bronny signs his deal as well. Now, Dalton Connect also signed his deal. Now, he did that yesterday, but it is what it is, and LeBron got paid what he was when there was the whole talk of the discount. Like, I'm going to get a discount.
No discount happened.
No,
Nothing.
There's no discount at all. And Lonzo in the F&M Bank chat says, look, I'm a Lakers fan, and this is so embarrassing, and I'm extremely embarrassed by this.
Okay, somebody said Ethan Hall. He says it's not unprecedented at all.
It's okay because I will go and continue to research to see what other like late second round picks have gotten us some sort of a deal like this because the ones that I've looked up have not. So I'll continue to research that. While we do that, we're also going to talk to Ryan Callahan because over the course of the last 2 weeks, as the Vols were winning the College World Series, the football team has been active, and they have gotten a ton of commitments from a lot of great players that are coming in, and as they're trying to get closer to this recruiting class finalizing for the 2024 and 2025 season. So we're going to talk to Ryan Callahan of Go Vols 24/7 and
Lucas Panzikas in the second hour to talk about some soccer.
1,000% because we know nothing. Not one thing other than they play at Geodis Park and that they're on 104.5 The Zone.
Atmosphere.
And the atmosphere is amazing. We cannot give you any X's and O's breakdown whatsoever. I know Will has said on social media that they've got a break coming up and it acts as an extra training camp for him. That's it. I don't know why. We'll ask Lucas about that coming up in the second hour. But he's Blaine Bishop. I'm Joe Hunk. We're brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, this is Blaine Bishop, and I want to know if you have heard about peptides. Peptides are shaking up the fitness world, and they are naturally occurring aminos in our bodies, and as we age, they start to decline. And at some point, they may need to be supplemented. This is why our workouts can stop being productive at the gym. And maybe you feel like you've hit a wall or perhaps feel tired all of the time. You may be struggling to stay awake in the evenings when you come home from work. Well, if you have that thought, this is just a normal part of aging. It doesn't have to be that way. Peptides are proven to increase muscle and performance, burn fat, and help with recovery between workouts and more. And peptides can even help with motivation and mental clarity. These are safe, naturally occurring aminos, not pharmaceuticals, a natural and holistic way to get your body back to peak performance. Plus, Edge Peptide Therapy has the most comprehensive blood panel around. So when you go to Edge, you will know exactly what is going on inside of your body and what it needs to get back to peak performance, just like I did. So feel better from the inside out. So go to edgepeptide.com. Yes, that's edgepeptide.com. Or you can give them a call at 615-724-1878. That's 724-1878.
So many people trust Two Rivers Ford. Football players, working moms, business owners. Why? Because Two Rivers Ford has been doing business with integrity for decades. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
Continuing on this Wednesday/Friday for many of us. Actually, I think for a lot of people, they took their Tuesday was Friday. Some people's taking the entire week off. So we just appreciate you hanging out with Blaine Bishop, the Hitman, and myself here on this Wednesday afternoon as everybody's getting ready for the 4th of July. Now, we were asking the question just a few minutes ago about, you asked the question about, is this a normal contract for somebody that's picked 55th overall?
Right.
And Ethan in the F&M Bank chat said that Kennedy Chandler got a contract similar to this. Looking his up, his was a 4-year, $7 million, or 4-year, $7 million deal, and he was picked 38th overall.
Not 55.
Not 55. So I don't know how big of a difference that makes of going 8th in the second round and 25th in the second round, but just, something to pay attention to. We'll talk more about that here in just a little bit as well. But let's go and let's talk a little bit about those Tennessee Vols. As now that the college baseball season is over with, we have SEC Media Days coming up. Ryan Callahan joins us from Vols 24/7 and Go Vols 24/7. And Ryan, I want to ask you the first question about this period of time, not just for the high school athletes, but also for all of these coaches as we're getting closer to fall camp starting. How important is this period of time to finalizing that 2025 recruiting class?
Yeah, this is huge. And the tough part for coaches is right now they're doing their best to at least attempt to take vacations. This is the only time of year they really get any time away from the office and get out with their families, especially here around the 4th of July. So they're on their phones more than they would probably like to admit, still dealing with recruiting and things like that. But they hosted official visits throughout the month of June, obviously, and a lot of guys have already announced decisions. Plenty more announcing commitments in the coming weeks, and it's a critical stretch. You know, Tennessee and every other team, they like to have as much of their class as possible solidified going into the season. If you're not at around 20 commitments in a lot of cases, looking for a class of 25, for instance, you're probably behind and needing to make up a lot of ground going into the fall. So that's kind of the norm these days. A lot of kids announce decisions in the summer. And so this stretch is really critical for Tennessee, and they're off to a good start, but still some big battles left out there that will go a long way toward determining how good this class is.
Well, and Ryan, the whole idea of this class as it's shaping up, the 16 commitments that they have right now, there was a period of time that over the last 2 weeks where the Vols got like 4 and 5 commitments just in the course of a few days. Did you ever think that you would be in a period of time where the Vol football team would be overshadowed because the Vol baseball team was doing what it was doing? Because a lot of this felt like it just flew under the radar, even though these were 4 and 5 star guys.
Yeah, you're right. It's odd. I mean, fans are still adjusting a little bit to the summer being such an important time for recruiting, but it still would have normally dominated the headlines. And you're right. They're just not. It didn't seem to make quite as big of a splash as it usually does when that kind of thing happens, because Tennessee baseball is such a big story. It's amazing to obviously Tennessee fans are tremendous, and we've seen over the years they'll support a winner in just about any sport. But to see the number of people that were in downtown Knoxville for that national championship parade last week was pretty unreal. When especially for someone like me that's been around long enough to have seen some of the midweek and even SEC weekend crowds they used to draw in some of the lean years for Tennessee baseball. So it's amazing that the fan interest in baseball now compared to just 7 or 8 years ago, and it's amazing. And the fact that football is kind of not been overshadowed completely, but that it's kind of in the back of people's minds just a couple weeks away from SEC Media Days is pretty unreal. And fans are going out and buying baseball national championship merchandise instead of getting their football jerseys getting ready for the season. It's been an odd time, but definitely a welcome one for Tennessee fans that are happy to have a championship to celebrate again.
You can follow him on X at Ryan Callahan 247 as Ryan Callahan of Go Vols 24/7 joins us right now on 104.5 The Zone.
Well, Ryan, you talked about the parade and the World Series and everything and all that excitement that it brought to the campus. Do you think this in any way has helped recruiting for football or in other sports as well?
Well, it certainly never hurts. Coaches will tell you that just being in the national spotlight for anything, even if it's the basketball team playing in the Elite Eight, winning SEC championships in that sport, it all helps. It all carries over, and there is some. I've had recruits mention that kind of thing. That just mentioning that Tennessee is competitive or wins championships in all sports. So I think you can get some mileage out of that. Now, at the end of the day, what you do in that specific sport that you're recruiting to matters the most. But I think they do get some mileage out of that, especially when. For junior days and things like that in the winter, they take football recruits to basketball games. Basketball recruits obviously visit for football games. There's a lot of carryover there. And it's gotten to the point where now Tennessee, when they have spring visitors on campus for football, they will occasionally take them to a big SEC baseball game in April or May when they're on campus. So it's crazy that it's gotten to that point that they can do that, but they can use that to sell Tennessee's fan base now. So there is some benefit to that for sure, and Tennessee tries to get something out of that as much as they can.
Well, we went with Ryan Callahan, Go Vols 247. I guess leading into the recruiting, it seems like they're having a lot of success, especially with these high-level players. Can you pinpoint, or maybe it's multiple things, on why they're having success and probably potentially going to be in the top 10 ranking? And, I mean, let's give us your bold prediction. Where do you think they'll end up, let alone what do you think are the reasons why they're having success in recruiting?
Yeah, still a lot of battles to decide exactly where they're going to end up. For instance, they're one of the main contenders for 5-star offensive tackle David Sanders out of Charlotte, North Carolina, who's currently 24/7 Sports number 3 overall player in the 2025 class. battling Ohio State for him. So you get a second 5-star to go along with quarterback George McIntyre from down the road there at Brentwood Academy. That gives Tennessee a much better chance of finishing in the top 10 or even potentially even a little higher if enough battles fall their way. So, and then as opposed to if you miss out on Sanders, a top 10 class becomes a bit harder. So some big battles like that still out there to be decided. But I think right now it's looking like a pretty realistic possibility. Tennessee will finish in the top 10 because they have enough of those that seem to be leaning their way, at least right now. Now, in this NIL era, that can change in a snap. Just ask Tennessee last week. They had a 4-star tight end that was Deshaun Brame out of Kansas that appeared to be less than 24 hours away from announcing a commitment to Tennessee. Oregon came in, kind of changed his mind at the last minute. He heads to Oregon instead. So those can always change, but they've got enough things going their way at the moment that I think you can project at least a borderline top 10 class at the very least if things continue to go their way. So I think they're doing well for a lot of reasons. The biggest thing is they've got something to sell. They've now got 20 wins over the last 2 seasons, and that combined with the continuity that Josh Heupel's staff has provided, and then also that they've got some big name players to point to. They've got a lot of excitement over Nico Iamaleava taking over at quarterback. James Pierce they can point to as a possible number 1 overall pick. I mean, we'll see if that happens, but he's getting those early projections for next year's draft. So they've got some real things to sell, and it's not just a first or second year staff selling hope for the future. It's something there where they can point to now some successes, including Darnell Wright being the top 10 pick in last year's draft, going to the Bears at number 10. That's all the stuff they can point to now and say, hey, we did that, and now you can come be a part of this.
Well, the fan base is not too happy on what EA Sports on college football is selling, on especially the rankings on the defensive side, man. Well, what are you hearing about all of that?
Man, it's amazing. And the one that blew me away was the first one that came out, the stadium ranking.
Yes.
I don't understand any ranking that doesn't have Neyland Stadium in the top 10 of the best game day atmospheres out there. That was a head scratcher of a list for me. I didn't agree with some of the schools in the top 5. Wisconsin in the top 10 seemed a little shaky to me. There were some interesting picks. So look, there's a lot of great places to play college football, but if you've been to a prime game at Tennessee, it's hard to not have that. I think that's a top 6 or 7 and probably safely top 5 stadium in the country. And they've got 13th is where they had it on the EA Sports list.
Yes.
So, that's crazy to me. But yeah, the offense, defense, you can sort of have some quibbles with those rankings for sure. Like I understand that, but the big one is overall Tennessee wasn't in their top 25 power rankings. That's just hard to fathom when a lot of people view Tennessee as a fringe college football playoff contender going into this season. So the defense, maybe they're top 25 overall, maybe they're just outside that range. The offense, they've got some unproven pieces there, but overall, I think they're a top 20 team going into this season. So how you have it reflected on a video game, I don't know, but it's hard for me not to have Tennessee in the top 25 there, just in terms of sheer talent and overall player rankings. If you're breaking it down that way.
Well, Ryan Callahan joins us right now from Go Vols 24/7, and you were mentioning what the Vols have to do when it comes to selling and how many things that they have to sell to this. You've got 4 defensive linemen that have already committed to play for the Vols in 2025. Is playing time one of those big things that the Vols are selling right now? Because this front 4 for the Vols is very senior, redshirt, and obviously with James Pierce, junior heavy, like a lot of these guys could be gone in 2025.
Yeah, no question. That's the big thing they've had to point to for the last 6 months or more is that, hey, we're expecting a lot of guys to leave, and I don't think they're going in promising anyone a starting job, but I think the fact that there is this mass exodus expected after this season across the defensive line, it's definitely one of the things that they've had to point to. I know Ethan Utley from right there at Innsworth School pointed to that and saying, hey, I think I can really play as a true freshman at Tennessee on the defensive line. So it's definitely something they've had to point to and have been able to sell in recruiting. It's a big reason they needed to finally stockpile some numbers at that position. That's a position they've not really fully met all their needs in the past few years, I would say, and so they come up maybe one short each year or something like that. This year looks like they're going to come a lot closer to getting what they need at that position. Still might go to the transfer portal after this season with everything they're losing, but they've got a pretty good defensive line class coming together, and one of their biggest recent commitments, Marion Dye out of Indiana, a 4-star that they beat Ohio State and Purdue for. That was a massive win, a really talented guy. Yeah, 6'5", 270 or so, and really athletic. And that's obviously a part of Indiana. Tennessee doesn't usually recruit a whole lot or win a lot of battles when they do try to go up there. So that was a pretty impressive win for Tennessee. And one of the reasons they were able to pull that off is I think the opportunity for those guys to come in and play.
Well, I know that like Nick Moore is a local guy here in the state of Tennessee, but then right after he committed a couple of days ago, you got the commitment out of Bishop Gorman. Are these guys talking at these camps and they're saying, hey, look, I'm doing this and I want you to come into this because you've got an interior offensive lineman that committed, then you've got an offensive tackle. That would seem to me like a conversation that would happen at some point in time.
There's some of that for sure. I think you have more players these days kind of doing what's best for them, especially in the NIL era. It's just so hard for players to just want to follow a certain player and things like that when there's actual money on the line for a lot of these guys. But to your point, I mean, it can be a group thing, when there's a lot of players that when they see talented players just go into a school, it doesn't even matter if there's much of a personal relationship there. I just think that helps, having the 5-star quarterback in the class again, just like with Nico Iamaleava a couple of years ago, it helps for players to know they're coming into a program that's on that kind of solid footing with big-time quarterbacks leading the way. So all that plays into it. All those things kind of play into one another and help Tennessee across the board. And I think you're definitely seeing that on the offensive line too. 3 offensive line commitments. They still need some tackle help to go with those interior linemen they've got committed, but they're winning some big-time battles there, including Douglas Utu that you mentioned, a top 100 player in the 24/7 Sports Composite, and that's a guy that projects as a guard, but the type of guard Tennessee really hasn't been able to sign in a number of years to get someone that highly ranked and beat out programs like Michigan and Oregon and Alabama for a player in Las Vegas. I mean, that's just an example of kind of what they're able to do and do it in some different areas too, where they don't usually recruit a whole lot.
I know that Utah State just lost their head coach, which obviously opens up the 30-day portal for players that potentially want to leave there. But at this point in time and year, is it just focus on the high school players because it's summertime, or is there still a potential that the Vols could add somebody from the transfer portal for this year's class or this year's team?
Yeah, I never say never with things like that, but it certainly looks like Tennessee's done right now for this year. I think there were some possibilities out there this spring that Tennessee at least explored, but they didn't add anything from the portal during the spring period that opened up in April. So they've kind of stayed pat with what they had coming out of the winter transfer portal period, and they didn't lose a whole lot either. And that's probably the flip side of that is they didn't have a whole lot to replace Christian Conyer, the cornerback from Bowling Green, Kentucky, and then Elijah Herring, obviously the linebacker from Murfreesboro who transferred to Memphis. Those were kind of the two noteworthy losses in the spring, but they've not felt the need to go out to the transfer portal so far. A couple of years ago, they went and got a running back in early August, Lynn J. Dixon, that started his college career at Clemson. So you've seen some late additions before, but this year it doesn't look like Tennessee is scouring the transfer portal right now, and I think they feel like they're pretty much in a good spot to focus on the 2025 class at this point.
You can follow Ryan on X at Ryan Callahan 24/7 as Ryan Callahan of Go Vols 24/7 joins us now on 104.5 The Zone.
Well, Ryan, man, I was watching a lot of SEC Network yesterday, man, and when Texas, Oklahoma became official in the SEC, man, their fan bases look like they fit right on in, man. What were your thoughts on their fan base and I guess their history of their universities coming into the SEC?
Yeah, I think I've talked with a lot of people about this. First of all, I'm kind of surprised a little bit, but maybe shouldn't be. But I don't think there's a ton of excitement, at least from other fan bases, about Oklahoma and Texas coming into the SEC. I think some fans, and maybe it's the perspective of your particular program, just worrying about sort of the downside to it. But I think more people are kind of concerned about just how tough the SEC is going to be. If you're a fan of especially a middle tier or bottom tier SEC program, I think you're concerned this is going to make it that much harder to ever win a championship, knock everybody down a peg. It's going to be a really tough league. But yeah, on top of that, you've got what a lot of people would say is the hubris, I guess, of Texas, that kind of everywhere they've gone, they've managed to ruffle some feathers, and I think that's going to continue. I think Texas is going to have a pretty easy time making rivals in this conference for sure. And what we'll see about Oklahoma, I think those programs in a lot of ways fit pretty well in the SEC, but Texas is a little bit different. They're kind of their own different animal, and I think they're going to have no trouble riling up some people and causing some rivalries. Maybe even with a school like Georgia or Alabama, where they're going to be competing for some high stakes games in football. I think you could see some maybe different rivalries that way, just because Texas kind of carries its target on its back everywhere it goes and manages to ruffle some feathers a lot of times.
Well, speaking of ruffling the feathers there, I know Sankey was asked one of the questions on the horns down. Will that be a penalty? He said he wasn't going to answer that question this early, basically, here in early July. I wanted to get your opinion. Horns down, do you think that's going to be a penalty in the game?
It shouldn't be. I've never understood why horns down is viewed as this like offensive sign. I mean, players have mockingly done the gator chomp toward Florida fans for years, right? I don't understand what's so different about the horns down thing, but it's apparently taken as a personal affront to people. I don't think you make any personal exceptions for that one. That you make a special case and say, hey, that's the one that's off limits. But hey, I think that's got to be up to the officials on a case-by-case basis, but I don't see why you would single that one out as one that's any different from any of those other, symbols or gestures fans might make related to a particular school. That seems silly to me.
Right. Brian, before we let you go, I know that obviously George McIntyre is a part of this recruiting class that's going to sign potentially in December. I know obviously Nico is starting quarterback for Tennessee, but you've got the number one player in the country that just trimmed his numbers and trimmed down to 4 teams or 4 schools, and one of those is Tennessee. I know we are a month away from him committing, but what do you think the Vols' chances are of picking up the number one player in the 2026 class?
Yeah, Faison Brandon out of Greensboro, North Carolina, and Tennessee's been in good shape there for a while. Honestly, I think Tennessee's chances right now are pretty good, but still a month to go, as you said, and it's going to be a big battle down the stretch because you're not going to get even this early the number one player in any class without a pretty big fight. And I think Alabama has made things more interesting down the stretch. So kind of much like George McIntyre's recruitment earlier this year and even last year in the final months of his junior season, it's kind of looking like a Tennessee-Alabama battle for Faison Brandon, and LSU would be the other contender there. He's going to go to all 3 of those schools again later this month, it sounds like, before making his decision. But he's already been to Tennessee, I think, 7 times since last June. So he's very familiar with Knoxville, has some connections with Hendon Hooker. I mean, a lot of things about his recruitment have felt kind of pro-Tennessee all along, and they're very comfortable with him. He's very comfortable with the Vols. There's a lot of reasons to think he could end up at Tennessee. So it would be pretty wild for Tennessee to land 3 5-star quarterbacks in 4 years, but that really is looking like a strong possibility, and we'll see what happens over the next month. But that's definitely something fans should be keeping an eye on with them preparing to announce a decision on August 3rd.
Well, Ryan, we appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for hopping on with us. I know you're about to get started on your 4th of July vacation, man, so thank you very much.
That's right. Have a good 4th, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, you too. That is Ryan Callahan of Go Vols 247. When we come back, it's always a fun little thing when it comes to trying to prove a point. Blaine's going to explain that when we come back. What? Yeah, you got to prove a point when we come back.
Okay, I'm going to do just like this. Point.
No, not point. Prove a point. I'll explain when we come back here on 104.5 The Zone.
WeGrowHair.com. That's the website for the place that has been called PAI now for more than a quarter of a century. WeGrowHair.com. So you drive around Nashville, you see the billboards, you see real people and real results. Maybe you're a real people and you're ready for some real results with your own hair. Maybe you just started losing it, you noticed it. Maybe somebody was kind enough to tell you, you know how that goes. Maybe you've been losing it for a while or you lost all of it a long time ago. No matter where you are in your hair loss journey, I would imagine you don't want to be there. So why not do something about it? WeGrowHair.com. Now, the first time you go, they'll take some pictures. Their team are experts. They'll show you, here's how you got to where you are. Here's why you are where you are. Here's how we fix it. And they'll work with you on how you pay for it. And they'll show you all the different technology options because they have a bunch. And they'll figure out what the best course of action is for you. And they'll put it together. And guess what? It'll be the old you again with your own hair growing on your own head. Come on, man. Call them today. Permanent, natural results from the company you can trust. PAI Medical Group. WeGrowHair.com. Don't wait. Call now. 615-376-6010.
You can watch the Hitman, Blaine
Dance,
Bishop, and
dance,
you can watch him dance as well on Zone TV.
Yeah, in the chair, with, try to do the Michael Jackson moves.
Chair dancing?
Yeah, man, I'm great at that.
I'm even horrible at that, so I don't even attempt it. I don't even attempt that. I don't. No. But you can see Blaine do it by going to YouTube, Facebook, X, or Twitch and watch Zone TV. And you can also get in on the FNM Bank chat, which Harold on the chat says that he's seeing a trend in the state of Tennessee because we just had Ryan Callahan on.
Uh-huh.
Nashville SC just hired a Callahan, which we will talk to Lucas Panzica about coming up at 2:20.
Is his name Brian too?
His name it was Callahan. I thought it was like maybe Brian Callahan
it's
like that.
BJ, but
BJ.
The B stands for Brian.
So there we go.
I knew it, bang.
Yeah, I knew it was a Callahan and I knew it was a B. Didn't want to sound dumb by saying yes.
So he calls himself BJ.
And then the Titans have a Brian Callahan. So just a little bit of a trend throughout the state.
Callahans, man, they're famous all over the place.
And they're all, and two of the three are, one of the three is spelled differently because BJ Callahan spells his differently than what Brian and Ryan spell it. So, but then.
I need help with confusion, don't I?
Yes, and we're very confused on what this means for Nashville SC, so that's why Lucas is going to come in and help us with
help
this.
us out.
One thing that I know you were confused about a couple of, matter of fact, it was last week, is how Caitlin Clark was not on the women's Olympic team for basketball. And yesterday we found out that Caitlin Clark is going to play in the WNBA All-Star game, which just so happens to be against the women's basketball team before they go to Paris. I think it's the second time. It's the second time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was the second time because the first time it took place was 2021, and that's when they played in, I believe it was Las Vegas before the Tokyo Games.
Oh.
So the women's national team is playing the WNBA All-Stars that are not on Team USA. So that's how this is working.
So is it appropriate to say women's national or women's Olympic team?
So that was a conversation. You asked Lucas about this as well, and I'm thinking...
Because I think people think soccer. I don't know, though. I'm not the expert.
And the way that the press release says, it says USA Basketball Women's National Team.
Oh.
So it's, I guess, both suffice. I'm just based on the way that it is titled in that. But with you, you were sitting here and you were talking about how crazy it was not to have Caitlin Clark on here. And now coming up in a couple of weeks, because this has happened on July 20th, she is going to go up against the USA basketball team that said that she was not going to be on their team. Is this a game where I know it's supposed to be fun, but at the same time, is there somewhere in the back of her head where she's going, I'm so putting up 30?
No.
Like, I'm so going to put up 30 on these girls.
It's an all-star team, so you haven't played with these ladies before, so you're trying to develop some form of chemistry, and you're going to go out there and play hard. Let's go back to the timeline. The reason why I thought she should have been on an Olympic team is because of the eyeballs she brought. I know there's a process, there's a 3-year window there that they go through practices and people who make the team, who's on the team and everything else, so she missed all of that because of her schedule and how far her university, Iowa, went into the tournament the last 2 years, so she wasn't able to participate. But because she was the number 1 overall pick and what she has done already in the WNBA, I thought, and the attention she brings, I thought she should be on the team. Now, how much she was going to play and all that really didn't matter to me. I thought she was good enough and she deserved to be on the team and could pick up chemistry pretty quick. Now, to the point of, her playing, trying to make a point, I think first and foremost, I had this conversation with the coach, Andy Reid, when I went to the Eagles and we played, guess who? The first game of the season here in Tennessee, the Tennessee Titans. And all week, come Tuesday, Wednesday, he's like, hey, man, you act like you playing them today. I said, I am. I can't wait to get them. They didn't want to sign me back. I'm going to get. He said, no, just remember, this is just another game. If you're going to put your mindset that you're trying to prove something, you're going to make mistakes. So that conversation really settled me down. So by Thursday, I was back to being me and just doing what was required of me and then going above and beyond whatever that was. So I hope she doesn't try to make a point. Just go out there and play ball. And if it happens, it happens. But if it doesn't, hey, that's okay too. I mean, I don't think you make a point because you lose anyway. You're not on the team. So, really, at the back of your mind, you're sitting there saying, hey, I want to show them. But that's your motive. then you're probably not going to do to it because you're going to be trying too hard. And when you try too hard, sometimes as an athlete, it doesn't come out right. You know, it's like pressing. It's like a pitcher. You're trying so hard to throw that perfect pitch, and then all of a sudden, then you lose it up high. So you got to kind of just play within the game and how it goes. And then it's an all-star game, so it's kind of a free-flowing deal. So there's not a lot of pressure anyway. So go out there. And if you got a one-on-one moment, though, you may want to, show your range, show your handles, and take somebody to the rack, a dish, or whatever it may be, because she's, a ball handler and a point guard. So, I'd love to see it, for her to have a really good game. So, because that'll be a lot more hype and eyeballs about the WNBA. A lot of people, think that she's been treated differently. And I don't believe that. I think when Michael Jordan got into the NBA, he went through the same process. When you're the number one pick and you're one of those great players that come out of college, I don't care what level it is, women's, men's, they're going to out to show you that, hey, welcome to the WNBA. Welcome to the NBA. Welcome to the NFL. By the way, so I had some aha moments as well. So that to me was all jargon for me, but that didn't matter to me because you knew she was going to continue to get better each and every time, let alone her team. There's a reason why they had the number one pick. So they weren't very good, and then they're gradually getting better, and as well as she's adapting to the physicality of the WNBA. So tip the cap to Caitlin Clark, bringing all the eyeballs and all the sponsors and representative, not only to her, but to other players too, now have their own shoe and everything else. So she's kind of, I want to say, somewhat Tiger Woods to golf. Maybe that's a little too much, but what she's bringing to the WNBA, you gotta be happy if you're another WNBA player.
I wouldn't have even known the WNBA All-Star Game was happening on July 20th
exactly.
if it wasn't for her. I mean, I just wouldn't. Yeah. It's nothing against the WNBA, but I'm just saying I just would not have done it. So, we're wrapping up our first hour. We come back, want to ask you, does the AFC South have the best group of starting quarterbacks in the NFL? 615-737-1045. He's the hitman. Blaine Bishop, I'm Joe Hunk, brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. This is 1045 The Zone.
Hey, Tennessee, summer is in full swing, and Coolway is here to make sure your home is ready for all the fun and the sun. We've got sizzling deals that will keep you comfortable and worry-free all season long. So picture this. The sun is shining, the barbecue grill is sizzling, and your home is running smoothly thanks to Coolway's amazing summer promotions. And stay powered up for every summer party with a $500 off whole home generators. And no more worrying about those unexpected power outages. So keep your summer nights bright and safe with $200 off electrical panels. Perfect for all your electrical needs as you enjoy the long days and warm nights. So protect all your summer gadgets with a $50 off surge protection. From your AC to your entertainment system, we've got you covered. So keep your plumbing in tip-top shape as well for all those summer gatherings with $93 or free drain cleaning offer. And if we can't clear your drain, it's free. What? So say goodbye to clogs and hello to worry-free fun. So ensure your family stays hydrated and healthy with free water quality testing, because nothing beats a refreshing drink of pure water on a hot summer day. So get ready for summer activities with a $500 off tankless water heaters and $250 off tanked water heaters. Perfect for endless hot water when you need it the most. And don't forget, keep your home cool and comfy with a $49 AC tune-up. Yes, all you have to do is just give them a call today to take advantage of these scorching hot deals. And that's Cool Ray, who is a trusted partner for cool and comfortable Tennessee summer. So visit coolray.com, or you can give them a call today at 615, of course, 237-1603. That's 237-1603.
Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Joe Hunk. Nashville SC has themselves a brand new head coach. In fact, the second head coach in club history in BJ Callahan. As it was announced earlier today, Lucas Panzica will join us coming up at 2:20 to explain what this means for Nashville SC going forward. Bronny James and LeBron James signed new contracts all on the same day. How cute. 4-year deal, $7.9 million is what Bronny signed for with the LA Lakers. This year he's going to make $1.1 million. In the final year of the deal, he'll be making $2.4. And the Braves and Giants have game 2 of their series coming up tonight at 6:20. You can watch that if you're lucky enough to actually have Bally Sports. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Vols, the flagship station for your Tennessee Titans. This is 104.5 The Zone. Second hour of the day, final hour of the week. He is the hitman, Blaine Bishop. I am Joe Hunt, brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, where phone lines are open to you at 615-737-1045. As we get going 20 minutes from now, Lucas Panzica is going to sit down to explain to us what this means for Nashville SC. So Titans get a brand new head coach this year. Preds got a brand new head coach last year, and now Nashville SC is getting a brand new head coach
Titans
right now. Yeah, see, so you have all these teams in Tennessee getting brand new head coaches, and so we'll talk to him about that coming up in about 17 minutes from right now. Did you happen to see any of Hard Knocks last night?
No, I did not.
Okay.
Well, it's Hard Knocks was on last night?
It's a new season.
Is it with the Giants, right?
This is the one with the Giants. And so what this is doing is this is basically covering all of their offseason activities. So it started with the day after their final game of the regular season when they were eliminated from the playoffs, and then it's supposed to go all the way up to like training camp.
Oh, so did we see Thunder Thighs?
Oh, we saw everything. Like, and that was Saquon Barkley was a humongous conversation piece about this. He was.
See his thigh?
It is massive.
Gosh.
And there are parts in this that pertain to the Titans because Shane Bowen is the new defensive coordinator there. So they even show bits and pieces of his kind of introductory meeting that he has with all of the scouts to talk about the players that he's looking for the system and the type of system that he's wanting to implement with New York. And so you're just looking at it from a Titans perspective of, oh, okay, so is that how his thought process works? Mm-hmm. The other part of this is what you were talking about with Thunder Thighs is majority of the episode was determining if it was or was it not worth it to re-sign Saquon Barkley and what they should do. And in it, they go through all of the running backs and their pluses and minuses, and one of them is Tony Pollard. And they bring in and they talk about what he does well. And it was unique to see the way that other teams throughout the NFL look at Tony Pollard as he is now a Tennessee Titan. So now looking back at it, knowing that he's going to sign with Tennessee. So that was interesting because they compliment.
What did they say about Tony Pollard?
Fantastic hands. He's a 3-down back that he's going to be able to catch the ball out of the backfield and that he's going to be able to run routes was the short synopsis in which they had. But they went through everything from Austin Eckler to Josh Jacobs. A lot of players, they talked about how Josh Jacobs struggled last season because he missed parts of training camp and OTAs and everything, trying to get the brand new deal that they did, and started talking about Saquon Barkley's value and what he has in the market. And if, they think that if they let him go to be a free agent, if they're going to be able to match whatever deal was inevitably to be signed. And
did they ever go over the deal that he actually got from the Eagles?
They haven't got to that part yet.
Oh, okay.
No, so this kind of just covers the very beginning pieces of it.
I'm going to go back and watch.
But that's the only thing that's interesting about it is
that's it.
That's it is because you're seeing this behind the scenes stuff because it shows a lot of the meetings that the teams have when it comes to them starting to look at the free agents, evaluating who's these players. Do we think we can afford him? Do we think we can afford this guy? The decisions that they're making. So that's the interesting part.
What was the negative of Saquon?
The negative is the fact that they don't think that it would be worth paying him $20 or $12 million when you're paying a quarterback $25 million. Like that was one of the big highlights of the episode was if we did this, then we'd most likely have to pay him $12 million. And so we'll have a $25 million quarterback handing off to a $12 million running back. And that's a lot of money tied up into two players is what there basically was the biggest downside of it.
Yeah, and so,
had nothing to do with his injuries, had nothing to do with anything. They've even said he's been our best player since he's been here.
Right. Yeah, there's no doubt. When he was healthy. It's funny because if that's all, was it Jones from Duke, right?
Yeah, Daniel Jones.
Yeah, Daniel Jones, $25 million is a steal right now at quarterback for the going rate of what they're paying quarterbacks. So to me, you're getting, quarterbacks now are making $40 million. I forgot what Mayfield got. I think it was 30. So that wouldn't have been too far off. So I might have taken the risk there just because of the eyeballs to Saquon. Not only is he an elite player, this guy, you saw what he did to the Titans a couple years ago here in Tennessee. I mean, he single-handedly beat them. So this guy can catch the ball. He can run the ball. As long as he's healthy, man, I thought it would be worth it for him. And then to let him go to a divisional rival there, you cannot let that happen. And you're in New York, and you can't. The pressure there for them to keep him should have ratcheted up, and he should have probably got. I mean, what was he, the first or third pick or whatever he was when he came out?
What's really extremely funny about this is a lot of times now with Marvel movies and DC movies that are coming out, like you'll find out what the story is, and you'll kind of know where the story is eventually going to play into. Right. Like you're looking at it going, okay, so how are they going to get from Batman being, Bruce Wayne being a little boy to him being Batman? Like, you know what happens. In this one, in the first episode of Hard Knocks, they also spent so much time in saying, if we pay Saquon Barkley this, we still won't be able to pay anybody on the offensive line so that we can truly evaluate Daniel Jones and how good he could be.
Oh, well, I missed that part.
Now, here's what's great about it.
Who did they go pay?
They did it.
Oh, right. See, I knew it.
That's why it's funny to me, because they talk so much about improving the offensive line.
They signed somebody.
But, they didn't even draft an offensive lineman. The Giants didn't even draft an offensive lineman.
Did they sign any in free agency?
They have signed, they signed some as far as just some unrestricted free agents, like a Ty Phillips, like those types of guys. Like they've signed a couple of centers that aren't
I know
really
they
that
had some
great.
Injury issue with their linemen. That's why he was getting kind of snafu back there at the quarterbacks by kind of like Tanny.
But knowing now, being where we are on July 3rd and looking back at what the Giants have done, watching that first episode of going, hey, we really need to bring in some offensive line help. Like, we really need to bring in offensive line help. And knowing now that they haven't done it, that's the main reason I want to keep watching.
Are we fact-checking this, Reed?
They have not done it.
They had to bring in somebody. There's no way.
I'm looking at
the quarterback kill.
Exactly. And that was the whole discussion is we can't play Saquon this and not have help on the offensive line so that we can truly evaluate if Daniel Jones is going to be our guy going forward or not. And then they don't get any offensive line help.
Oh, man.
When
they're going to get him killed.
Exactly. And so that's why I'm watching this and I'm going, like I said, with DC and Marvel is I know where the story's going. I know what they haven't done up to July 3rd. And they are about to get Daniel Jones murdered in the backfield, and they lost Saquon Barkley.
Their offensive line was tying it back to the Titans was just as bad or maybe even worse. I don't know. But when you see how the Titans address that.
Yes.
Let alone with the coach.
Yes.
The best in the business, in the NFL. So, man.
But it made me start to think about the quarterbacks in the NFL and with Daniel Jones and even looking at the quarterbacks in his division. Like, I keep sitting here and thinking that, yes, we believe in Will Levis as much as we do because we've seen what he's done in the few games with the lack of weapons and protection that he had. But then you start looking at Trevor Lawrence and the deal that he got. A lot of people are saying now C.J. Stroud's the best quarterback in this division, and then you may or may not have a good quarterback in Anthony Richardson. We don't know. But is the AFC South actually the best group of starting quarterbacks now in the NFL after a few years ago had absolutely the worst set of starting quarterbacks?
Well, now they're all young and, Trevor Lawrence getting paid. I think he's a good starting quarterback. I do not think he's elite, but he was the number one and he got his money. So, hey, hats off to him. I just wanted to see a little bit more there. C.J. Stroud is kind of, he had a phenomenal season. I'm interested to see how he rebounds and come in year 2 where everybody knows what he is now and see if he can play even better because now he's seen a lot. So that'll be interesting to watch. Will Levis in his spot play duty, I thought did solid enough to say maybe he can be our franchise quarterback. Let's see what he can do with some more weapons around him and get some protection with them. Then Richardson, you don't know what to expect just because he was a high pick. He got injured. So I think he only played, 4 games or something like that?
Yeah, he only played a few games. It was not many.
So his upside is big. I think, yes, but we haven't seen it yet. And I know a lot of people put him ahead of Will Levis, which you got to see a lot of. So it's kind of interesting. Sometimes when you get drafted high or in the first round and you're a quarterback, they just assume that you're going to be a better player. Don't know that yet. We shall see. It's pretty good. I mean, I'm trying to think of one top to bottom that's comparable. We got the AFC North, which is the Ravens, Steelers, Bengals.
So you know the
Browns.
starters for you know the starters for the Ravens.
Watson, no, he hasn't played well the last 2 years. Burrow is elite, but he got injured. We don't know who the starting quarterback really to me in Pittsburgh.
Because you have Fields and
Lamar.
Russell
So
Wilson.
no, that division not.
No. And then you go AFC West, which then would be obviously Patrick Mahomes with the Chiefs. Then you have Herbert with the Chargers, Gardner Minshew with the Raiders. We believe that it'll be Bo Nix with Denver. Believe, not even 100% sure on that. So I wouldn't. The Patrick Mahomes part put you ahead in there.
Herbert, is it be interesting? I don't know. I think we got better.
Yeah, we'll see. And look at the NFC North would be another one because Caleb Williams is coming in. The Titans are going to see him week 1. You have Goff with the Lions. You have Love with the Packers. And then the Vikings. God, forget because they got rid of
J.J. McCarthy and my man Darnold.
Sam Darnold or J.J. McCarthy. Don't really know about how good either one of those are going to be. And then you look at the NFC East, Dak with the Cowboys. We just talked about Daniel Jones with the Giants. You have Jalen Hurts with the Eagles and whoever the Commanders decide to go with.
Oh, Daniels, the rookie.
I mean, see,
LSU. I don't know. That's a competition there, but top to bottom, I think potentially – I think the AFC South. I think you're right.
I mean, I'm trying to not be biased about it, but I'm looking and I was thinking about it.
But nobody thought C.J. Stroud was going to play like that.
No. In the NFC
they're
South.
Going for a Super Bowl right now. They're putting their team, they have the pieces. They got Hunter and Autry on defense. Like, what? And then added Diggs.
Yep. Which the Diggs edition is, people will forget about that because of everything else going on, but you forget and go, oh, yeah, they added
Diggs. What was the Dale, the receiver that was injured during the playoffs from Houston?
Tank Dale. Yeah, for the wide receiver out of, is it Houston?
Yeah,
I believe,
Houston.
Wide receiver out of Houston that is there, so you have him as well.
And then the other kid, they gave the long-term deal to Nick Bale, I want to say. I may be wrong on that, but off the top, they're the Texans.
Yeah. I mean, that's why with C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans offense, that's why you would think that they're picked to probably win the AFC South. But then you turn around and now we look at what's happening inside the state, what we've talked about yesterday with the Preds, the Vols, the Titans, all those, and who could potentially win there. Plus, when we come back, Lucas Panzica is actually sitting in the prod room here waiting to walk in to talk to us a little bit more about Nashville SC and what this new signing of BJ Callahan could do for them, as well as we'll take your phone calls at 615-737-1045. He's the hitman, Blaine Bishop. I'm Joe Hunk. We're brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. This is 1045 The Zone.
Hey, this is Blaine Bishop, and I want to know if you have heard about peptides. Peptides are shaking up the fitness world, and they are naturally occurring aminos in our bodies, and as we age, they start to decline. And at some point, they may need to be supplemented. This is why our workouts can stop being productive at the gym. And maybe you feel like you've hit a wall or perhaps feel tired all of the time. You may be struggling to stay awake in the evenings when you come home from work. Well, if you have that thought, this is just a normal part of aging. It doesn't have to be that way. Peptides are proven to increase muscle and performance, burn fat, and help with recovery between workouts and more. And peptides can even help with motivation and mental clarity. These are safe, naturally occurring aminos, not pharmaceuticals. A natural and holistic way to get your body back to peak performance. Plus, Edge Peptide Therapy has the most comprehensive blood panel around. So when you go to Edge, you will know exactly what is going on inside of your body and what it needs to get back to peak performance. Just like I did. So feel better from the inside out. So go to edgepeptide.com. Yes, that's edgepeptide.com. Or you can give them a call at 615-724-1878. That's 724-1878.
Coming up tonight, 5:30, Nashville SC is on the road as they are in Columbus playing tonight. And it's going to be a major topic of discussion throughout the game as we are joined in studio right now by Lucas Panzica, as he is Blaine Bishop. I am Joe Hunk, brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Door. Lucas, you guys are going to be on the air, obviously, with Nashville SC playing tonight. But earlier today, brand new hire for the head coach of the Nashville SC. Help us out with BJ Callahan. Like, again, it's with this and happening, we see the hire, we understand that a new coach is there, but what does it actually mean for the team?
So BJ Callahan was the first name that was reported. It was Nashville's top target all along. They let go of Gary Smith in May. Okay. And it's been obviously 2 months, just under 2 months since that announcement that Gary Smith was going to be let go. And the timing of this comes straight off of the U.S. men's national team getting bounced from Copa America in the group stage. BJ Callahan's been the top assistant for the U.S. men's national team since 2019. So the timing of it was really just a matter of his time being up with the U.S. and then being eliminated from Copa America. So if the U.S. had won on Monday and we're still going, I bet we would not have this announcement yet. But because they're eliminated, here we are. BJ Callahan gets announced. He'll officially take over at the end of the month with a press conference at a date that hasn't been named yet at the end of July. And his first day as this team's manager will be July 22nd. So still 5 games to be played between now and then with interim manager Rumba Muntali. But, Nashville officially has its man to lead them into this next phase as an MLS club.
So first of all, let's go through BJ Callahan. So I know it's spelled a little bit different, but what does BJ stand for?
So we've got another Brian Callahan in town. The BJ stands for Brian Joseph, and the Callahan has a G before the H. So it's spelled slightly differently, but he goes by BJ. And just for the purposes of not getting him confused with the other head coach in town that coaches the Titans, BJ Callahan is the coach of Nashville Soccer Club.
Yeah. All right. So I'm a novice guy. Oh, you want to ask something?
No, I was just thinking we have a Brian Callahan, a BJ Callahan, and a Bill Callahan.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, nobody else has that. But I get confused on their calendar. Kind of take us through what a normal calendar looks like for, Nashville SC teams. And it seems like they're always playing. And when is the downtime and when you're not practicing at all?
It's a lot of games.
Yeah.
It's a lot of games. So the MLS season begins in late February, typically the final weekend of February. The MLS season ends with the MLS Cup final, typically right around the first week of December. You play 34 regular season games throughout that time, and that's not including the playoffs, which begin in October. Now, throughout the course of the season, teams will get a break every few weeks where they'll have a weekend off. Or there will be an international break where players will go play with respective national teams if you are a club that has players that get called up to their national team, like Nashville with Walker Zimmerman and Shaq Moore and the like.
Well, with that being said, I know you got to finish, but they don't, just Nashville SC or any other soccer team, they don't care about injury potential with playing with their national team?
There's always injury potential playing with the national team. Yes.
So could they block them from doing that, or no? That's not typically how it works in soccer.
There have been instances in that way. Like I think to last year where Brian Gutierrez, who is a talented young midfielder for New England Revolution, the U.S., I believe U19 squad wanted to call him up. And Chicago. Chicago simply told him, we're sorry, we really need you in this stretch. We can't let you go. But those instances are far and few between. It's an interesting thing. There's kind of an understanding across world soccer that playing for your national team is, for a lot of players, peaks of their careers, like lifelong dreams. So clubs are almost always going to allow their players to go play for the national team. If they don't, that can kind of lead you down a tough path in terms of your relationship with that player. And there's just kind of an understanding that, especially for major competitions, that number one, the fact that you have players that are being called up for national teams means you have quality on your roster. And number two, you just have to have the depth to supplement that when the time comes. This isn't as much of an issue for European clubs because their calendar goes from August to May. Major tournaments typically happen in the middle of the summer. So they're not even with the club when they're getting called up for the World Cup or, like right now, the Euros and Copa America and so on. So, yeah, but Anibal Godoy, Nashville midfielder, veteran leader in the midfield, is one of the best players in Panamanian history. Constantly gets called up for Panama. He's the captain of the Panamanian national team. And he was injured in their camp leading up to Copa America. So Godoy is back with Nashville, but he's got a lower body injury that he's dealing with. So he's been listed as out for this game tonight. So it's a risk that absolutely comes with it, and it can absolutely be a frustration for managers, but it's just one of those things that comes with the game.
Well, take us through the new coach, B.J. Callahan, and what his strengths are and why he's so qualified for this job.
So this is his first time being named as a full-time manager. He started in earnest his coaching career after kind of starting out in the college ranks as an assistant for Philadelphia Union. In 2014, he coached Philadelphia's academy team and sort of worked his way up to that number one assistant spot in Philadelphia. And Philadelphia's been one of the more functional, consistent clubs in Major League Soccer for the last decade or so. Jim Curtin's the longest tenured active manager in MLS and one of the best clubs at developing young talent. B.J. Callahan was at the forefront of developing a lot of young players for Philadelphia. That's a massive emphasis here for Nashville because as good of a job as Gary Smith did when Nashville entered the league and sort of he set a high floor for Nashville where they've made the playoffs each of their first 4 years in MLS. And Gary Smith did it in a way that relied heavily on veteran players, the likes of Walker Zimmerman, Dan Lovitz, Joe Willis, Hani Mukhtar, players that have done it for a long time, either in MLS or abroad. Moving forward, though, to get really to a next step, to elevate as a club, you've got to get something out of your young players. You've got to develop players in your academy and either find some business out of that and selling them to clubs, whether that's overseas or keeping it in this hemisphere, or to break through and help you with your first team, players that you develop that you don't have to go out and pay transfer fees for. It's a massive part of any club's success across the world, and it's a challenge for a club as young as Nashville that's only been in the league for 4 years and is kind of in the early phases of building up its academy, if you will. So that's a major emphasis. His impact on Philadelphia Union's academy and developing young talent from Philadelphia, some of those guys that are playing in Europe as we speak, young American internationals that are playing in Europe and England and Germany and so on. He was in Philly until 2019. Then he was hired by the U.S. men's national team, initially as an assistant role, but he kind of worked his way up down the bench, so to speak, as the number one assistant under Greg Berhalter. After the World Cup, Greg Berhalter's contract was up with the U.S. national team, and B.J. Callahan was named the interim while the federation decided which direction it was going to go. So he was the interim coach for Team USA pretty much all of last summer, and they looked fantastic in the time that he was there. They won the Nations League, which is a competition comprised of some North American teams that's played every year, where his coaching debut was a win against Mexico in the semifinal, which will always win you over with USA fans, and then a win in the final. And then he took over the U.S. in the Gold Cup, which is another continental competition in North America. And they lost in the semifinals, but the sample size was really encouraging when he was at the helm. They played a very attractive, expansive brand of soccer, utilized a lot of young players to be excited about for the future of American soccer. In the end, the U.S. decided to bring back Greg Berhalter, and Callahan went back to being an assistant, but he sort of showed his mettle, so to speak, in terms of his experience being a manager, being a leader. Players responded to him, and they were really fun to watch. So this was an opportunity that was probably coming for him, probably in MLS, a league he's really familiar with. And it's going to come with Nashville, who's looking to take just another step in terms of just moving forward and how they develop young players and how they get into this next phase of being a free-flowing, attacking team in MLS. They're one of the best defensive teams in the league. They have been since 2020. But to take that next step, you got to be able to score goals with the likes of Miami, with Columbus, with some of the best attacks and front lines in MLS right now. And that's a heavy emphasis on this hire, too.
Lucas Panzica joining us right now on 104.5. The Zone, he's going to be on the call tonight for Columbus and Nashville SC. As we talk about B.J. Callahan being signed and hired as the brand new manager for Nashville SC, you mentioned there's 5 games until he's hired. But short-term wise, there's also 11 matches after he's hired. So what is I know we talked about developing players, but from a short-term standpoint, what is the benefit of getting him in now, and what can he do going into the remainder of the season?
Well, I don't think there was ever any consideration to just finish out the whole year with an interim and reset for next year, because Mike Jacobs, the general manager, and Ian Ayer, the CEO at Nashville, believe that this is a roster that has a core that can compete, that can do something in the postseason in 2024. So they knew they wanted to get a coach in the summer. And Blaine, you were asking me about the calendar. The MLS regular season hits the pause button at the end of July for Leagues Cup, which is a new competition that just started last year, where MLS and the Mexican League, Liga MX, come together with a World Cup style competition where it's group stage and then knockout rounds. This is the competition Nashville went all the way to the final to last year and lost in penalty kicks against Inter Miami at Geodis Park.
That was this amazing crowd.
Crazy crowd, right?
Crazy.
Star-studded crowd, and
Yes.
Lionel Messi here for the first time. Just absolute insanity. And Nashville made a huge run to the Leagues Cup final last year. So that competition is back this year. It starts at the end of July. And Nashville's last MLS game before that Leagues Cup break is July 20th. BJ Callahan will have his first day as Nashville's manager July 22nd, when the players get back from Philadelphia, ironically, the place where he used to work. And he will be on the touchline coaching this team for the first time July 31st in their first group stage game for Leagues Cup against Mazatlan, which is a Mexican side. After Leagues Cup, however long Nashville stays in that tournament, then he'll have a chance to reset and lead Nashville down the stretch for the last 11 games of the MLS regular season, and all the cliches, get hot at the right time and see if they can make a push.
The thing about Lucas that I know, first off, if you have not been able to tell over the last 14 minutes how much he knows about this, like his knowledge is honestly, there's been times I know I've been looking at you, but cannot understand half the words you're saying. But
you cannot say that about a lot of things. But
but with this, I can. He's talking, and I'm just going, all right. But with Lucas, he brought up the tournament last year, and I have never shared this picture. I will never share the picture. The day that Messi came in and they were playing that championship round, Lucas and I were actually working for the Titans because the Titans actually had a preseason game. So Lucas is watching this game in Titans radio with me, and he's got the game on, and him and I are both there. The heartbreak on this man, the moment that they lost, I have a picture of it. I did take a picture.
Oh, really?
It is. I wanted to give him a hug. I seriously wanted to give you a hug in this. This is how much, this is his passion. So that's why you're the best person to ask this question for when it comes to this is, now you're looking at this team going forward with this. Is it about the tournament? Is it about the MLS Cup? Like, what is this with this signing for him? And now you're looking at all these matches that are still coming into play with this. Like, is there a thought that this is an MLS Cup championship team in 2024?
I think Nashville, the club, the leadership at the club believes it is a team that can make a significant push, and anything can happen in a postseason as insane as Major League Soccer's. So that's why they wanted to bring him in. The emphasis is on the Major League Soccer season and postseason. Yes. If you can make a run in Leagues Cup, that's great, and you're going to try to win every single game that you're in. But last year, Nashville made that run to the Leagues Cup final, expended a ton of energy over that run, and while teams that were eliminated early from that tournament were home and resetting, had a 2 to 3 week break to gear up for that backstretch of the MLS season, Nashville was playing intensity, high-level, knockout round competition games, including the final that went into penalty shootout. There was a bit of a hangover after that. There was kind of a come down after that because this team was exhausted and they hit a rough patch of form. They couldn't really find their groove in the attack, and they sputtered and lost in the first round of the playoffs. So the emphasis is on the MLS regular season and postseason. Whatever you can do in Leagues Cup, that's great, but that's a good chance for Callahan to sort of implement his ideas, see what it looks like in a competitive environment, and then whenever that Leagues Cup time comes to an end for Nashville, be able to kind of come back to earth and then gear up for the last 11-game stretch of the regular season.
I know we only have you for a few more seconds, and you mentioned something earlier that kind of just got my attention as I've been thinking about everything you've said. You mentioned about how a lot of these tournaments happen during the summer. Why is the MLS season during the summer then? Like, why have they not moved it similar to the Premier League?
It's a good question. I'm not sure. And to be honest, it's the same in South America too. Like the Brazilian League has the same calendar as the MLS does. In Europe, it's different. So I don't know all the reasons behind it. why the calendar is what it is. Personally, I think an August to May calendar is ideal, but MLS, I think, likes to take advantage, too, of those summer months. And, I mean, Geodis Park is rocking on a Saturday night in June, right, or July. So, to be honest, Joe, I don't know the honest answer to that, but I can tell you that most major leagues in South America do it the same way. But, yeah, it gets you in tough spots sometimes when you have times like now when tournaments like Copa America and the Euros are happening, and a lot of times your best players have to be gone with their respective national teams.
It's just a lot of start and stop, start and stop, start and stop.
Yeah.
That's just why I was curious about that. But, Lucas, man, we appreciate it. Seriously, because there's no way on earth we could have mentioned and talked about any of this.
No, I appreciate it, guys.
So what would be the expectations? Is it different in soccer when it's a first-year head coach that you still expected to win it all, I guess, if you want to call it that?
No, they'll expect to compete at the end of this season and in the playoffs. Absolutely. This is a talented side, guys. This is a side with, like, you look at the Preds, right, when Andrew Burnett takes over, and he's got core foundational pieces at UC Saros, Roman Yossi, Philip Forsberg. You look at Nashville SC, Walker Zimmerman is one of the best defenders in this league. Hani Mukhtar has just been named an all-star for the third year in a row. There are core foundational pieces to build around. The next steps are supplementing that. Summer transfer window opens July 18th, so they'll have an opportunity to make a move. They have in every summer of this MLS era, so we'll see what happens there and to see what they can get out of some of these young players that are playing right now with Huntsville. Nashville's reserve side plays in Huntsville, Joe, Huntsville City FC, down in MLS Next Pro. So the expectation is going to be to compete. BJ is going to have some time to kind of get his feet under him. And interim manager Rumba Muntali, who's done a fine job, by the way. He's really done a good job of stabilizing this thing. He'll lead Nashville tonight against Columbus Crew. We start our coverage at 5:30 tonight on The Zone. So 5 games between now and the official start of the BJ Callahan era, and the points in those games matter just as much as the points in September and October. So Rumba will continue to kind of hold the fort until we get to that July 20th mark, and then BJ Callahan, the era officially starts for Nashville Soccer Club.
Well, you're getting a lot of love. You and Will are getting a lot of love on the F&M Bank chat, talking about how great of a job you guys do on the call.
I appreciate it.
Every single game on that. So 5:30 is when this is all getting started. You'll be able to hear it right here on 104.5 The Zone, correct?
That's right, 5:30, right after 3HL.
Absolutely, Lucas. Somebody was asking about if they should take Nashville SC to win tonight.
Ooh. I don't know. I don't gamble on MLS games. I don't know. I don't know if I'm allowed to comment on that.
He's not allowed to comment.
If you're a believer,
answer.
I'll tell you this: Columbus Crew is red hot. They're the defending champs. They've won 6 of their last 7, and they've scored 9 goals in their last 2 games, which is not a normal thing. Not a normal thing.
No.
Nashville has had one of the best defensive outputs of the last 2 months or so. They've conceded 8 goals since May 1st. It's a fantastic standard that they've come back to defensively. So it's one of those unstoppable force, immovable object. Something's got to give tonight. So it's always fun when these teams meet. Fun things always happen. There's always fireworks.
Well, and you'll be able to hear it right here on 104.5 The Zone. Lucas, we appreciate it, man.
Thanks, fellas. Appreciate y'all.
Lucas. Thank you so much. We'll continue. Wrap this up. He's Blaine Bishop. I'm Joe Hunk. Brought to you by All 4 Seasons Garage Doors. This is 104.5 The Zone.
For many of you who have lived here a long time, you already know Eurofix has been in Middle Tennessee area for your European car repair needs now for 24 years. We've all gotten to watch them grow. And I don't know about you, but I love watching a hometown business take off. Well, we're now proud to announce the 5th location in Mount Juliet for Eurofix on Mount Juliet Road, right across the street from Dairy Queen. And Eurofix can serve you in Franklin, Hundred Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and now Mount Juliet. Pretty cool getting to watch a small-town mechanic starting in the barn of his backyard of a single-wide trailer and now grow to 5 locations repairing thousands of cars each month. And at Eurofix, you get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car with every repair appointment. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can just visit them online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com. Love it, Tom Blaine. Reed. See, Reed.
You can hop in the F&M Bank chat by simply going to YouTube, Facebook, X, or Twitch and get in on Zone TV. Watch us there as Blaine Bishop and myself, Joe Hunk, wrapping up today as we are done for the week. 4th of July weekend.
Yeah, so be safe out there and enjoy your time. Most people spend it with family and friends. So
start it with 20 digits, come back with 20 digits.
Yeah, man, because time just keeps on slipping
into the future.
Into the future, man. That was nice there. That was on time there with Reed, man. That was nice.
You were, and what was crazy is you and Lucas continuing to talk after we went to break about how
educating us on soccer.
Oh, totally educating us. I felt so bad because he was talking at one point in time, and I'm going, I know words are coming out of his mouth. I know that they're English. I just don't know what they mean. But
we were talking about the atmosphere too.
Yeah, no,
it is awesome.
That was in the atmosphere at Geodis Park.
I have a great time.
That is no joke. It doesn't matter if you like soccer, don't like soccer. One of the best atmospheres that you will go to for sporting events.
Yeah, I love the stadium too, and just how it's all set up. It's not a bad seat in the house, man. But you get involved with the fans. They got all these different chants, and they're playing the drums and this music. Oh man, it's just. Man, it gets ruckus there. I love it.
Oh, trust me. I wish baseball was that way. Like watching baseball in America, it's so bad. But then you watch like Korean baseball or you watch the Japanese baseball league and you see those guys, and that is a party for 9 innings straight. Like, I want that. We do not have that in America, and I really wish it. Tienberg says, so based on what Lucas is saying, we should go with under 2.5 goals tonight for Nashville SC.
A defensive team.
Apparently, yes.
Lenny McDark.
Yeah, but no, Lucas going to be on the call. 5:30 is when that is going to be the case. So what are your 4th of July plans as we wrapping up today? Do you go do fireworks? Do you do any of that sort of stuff over the weekend? Or you just kind of?
Well, I have some family coming in town, and so we're going to go to, usually we go downtown, but we're going to go to downtown Franklin this time. Something closer to home. I don't want any snafus or anything going on.
We have a block party every single year. So
in the neighborhood?
My brother-in-law's has in his neighborhood, they basically get like a big pot and everybody kind of throws cash into it, and one family goes and purchases all these no. I mean, technically, yes, in a way, because they go buy fireworks that you're about to blow up. So, yes, in a way. And so what they do is they go into the neighborhood, the whole neighborhood goes in, they purchase tons of fireworks. I'm talking about 30 to 45 minutes worth of just fireworks that will go off. And then once it finally gets dark, everybody in the neighborhood will come out and they will shoot fireworks for hours for the remainder of the night.
Are you shoot the fireworks way before or way 2 or 3 days later and people are still, shooting
I wanted
them
to fight somebody last night.
Oh, see?
I wanted to fight somebody.
It was Reed who did that.
Reed was in our neighborhood.
I was not in Huntsville.
No, Reed was.
I was not in Huntsville.
I knew
you
it was
light
Reed.
fireworks early. Like you're lighting them off tonight.
I actually, we don't shoot off fireworks. We go and watch them, but I don't.
I don't ever do that either.
No, in our neighborhood, man.
I did shoot my brother with a Roman candle last year, but we'll not talk about that.
Man. Knowing me, I'll probably try to light something and run, and it'll still go off right when I'm standing there.
I think I kind of stopped playing with fireworks when I caught a firework once and it was lit. That was when I was done.
Yeah. Well, come on in, Bananas. But Banana said, him and Jackson said they're going to light fireworks tonight just to piss off everybody tonight. Get the party started. Is that what you do? Are you the early shooter off for fireworks, or even like 2 or 3 days later over the weekend, like Saturday, Sunday, you're still firing fireworks, Banana?
No, you can't do fireworks after 4th of July. That's just rude. But on 4th of July, you got to wait till it gets dark, and it's July, so it doesn't get dark till late. So you're going to go late in the night.
Okay.
I'm telling you, last night I was almost asleep. Boom.
See, now the pre-July 4th people. And
Dad, it gets my dog out of whack too, by the way.
I understand the post July 4th because you have extra fireworks left over. Why are you shooting them off early? What are you doing?
No, it's annoying because like my daughter's asleep. And so I hear the firework goes off, and then I hear the echo through the baby monitor, and I'm thinking, please do not wake her up. Like, just please don't wake her up. People throughout the entire neighborhood's already shooting fireworks in our place.
But Jackson, what are you doing now? Are you a pre or after fireworks?
I'm day of. Exclusively day of. That is the day you shoot fireworks. That is the day it is meant to shoot fireworks. Any other day Blasphemous.
You already bought your fireworks, everything?
Not yet. You do it day of.
Oh, day of. That's when you buy them.
You buy them, you shoot them off on the same
Somebody
day.
said you just like holding the sparklers and just walk around with the sparklers, just rolling them around.
Nah.
Yeah, Taylor wants to know, why do you have leftover fireworks
because some people spend like tens of thousands of dollars on fireworks, and I don't know where they get the money for that.
Yeah, they do. They're on all the
pot,
corners too, man. You know, you can get you some, man.
See, but like to Jackson's point, like the day of fireworks, you just walk up to the fireworks stand and everybody's like there rushing to get them, and so it's like a thrill, and then you get to go shoot them off, which is more thrill.
All right, well, you guys be safe, man. We don't want people follow. You know. You guys up there lighting all these fireworks. Make sure you run. Have you ever been around someone where it's a snafu that happened?
Close calls, no snafu.
Yeah, I know. Right. We're guys all in here. We all know we get close to some snafus there on July 4th.
All right, 3HL coming up next, as we're going to get the entire room in on this today. All right, because this is it. The end of the week. We're done. So, in the meantime.
And in between time.
Peace. Y'all didn't do it. Seriously?
Slipping.